Hey, welcome back. Welcome, folks. Welcome to the Director's Garage Live Hump Day Happy Hour Hangout. I'm your host and resident idiot with some audio playing somewhere. Where's it coming from? Is it coming from here? I've got audio coming from somewhere. Let's turn this down. I don't know where it is coming from. At any rate, hey, welcome everybody. Glad you can make it for a Hump Day Happy Hour Hangout here, the 4-H Club at the Director's Garage Live. Host, resident idiot Michael, if I didn't say that before. I got a little distracted by that whole stray audio situation. I must have a browser open somewhere that's got some audio. Oh, there it is. There it is. That's bad. Can't do that. See? Oh my. Well, okay. So we're live. We're on it for a Wednesday. Let's I got a couple of things to discuss before we head into some chat and have some good old-fashioned fun. First thing is the Timeless 2 from 7 Hertz has been announced. Now, you know the Timeless is one of my all-time favorite IEMs, especially if you're on any kind of a budget. It's about $220, $240, depending on what time of year and when you get it, what the sales are. Will get you a pair of those things, and they just rock my world. I just think they're fantastic. And there's a new... I just did the Timeless AE like a month ago, and there's now a Timeless 2 coming out. And I got a little video. Let's see, where can we do this? Let's do this on the laptop from hell. Yeah. We can just go to this, and there. Okay. So here's the Timeless 2. It's not as attractive as the other two Timelesses in my estimation. Whoa, don't do that. Yeah, I don't think this is as inspired as the other, but it's got these tips on it that you can rotate around and get some different sound effects out of. It's not clear what's been upgraded or changed, but it has been allegedly upgraded or changed. One interesting thing is they've gone back, for the Timeless 2, they've gone back to MMCX connectors. Now, the Timeless AE had 2 pins. And the early photos I've seen of the Timeless 2 is MMCX again. So I'm like, what the heck's going on over there at 7 Hertz? What are they trying to do? See, MMCX. So... not really understanding what the thought is, because it was a big deal that they, I thought it was a big deal that they went to a 2-pin connector on the IEM, and now we're back to MMCX nonsense, which I don't think is going to make anybody happy. And I just, the Timeless is one of the headphones I'm giving away in the next, let's go back to this, in the next giveaway. I've got a Timeless that's going out, and that will be the next Director's Garage episode. The very next one, I'm going to reveal all the winners. We'll do a winners episode. I've got episodes lined up like you can't believe. I've got 2 boxes back here, each getting a dedicated episode. Sorry, cheers everybody. Got a little, get a little nectar in there from my whiskey jug. My comically yellow whiskey jug. Yeah, the Timeless is going to go in that what is it? The headphone, the winners from the giveaway. I'll do a winners episode. Then I've got a mystery what's in the box from Audio 46, and then I've got something I know what it is, but I don't know what it is. Kind of interesting. So that's coming up. That's going to be like a semi-mystery box. I kind of have an idea, but I have no idea at the same time what I'm getting. And that'll make sense in a couple episodes. And then there's possible future. There's another IEM episode possibly in our future. I've got where I'd open up 2 IEMs, unless I put something on the back end of the winners episode. I don't know. Sometimes I like to do something a little extra for those winners episodes because they're so short. and I put some production into them. So that you may wind up getting a little something extra on the winter's episode, like a budget IEM or something that I've got to reveal. That it's been kind of sitting here for a bit. Something somebody sent me to check out, and I have not yet to check it out. So that's coming up. What else have we got? Oh, more news. Black Friday deals. First of all, we teased this last week. Somebody brought it up just as we were going off the air that it's ZMF November. And I went over there and I just kind of got this all kind of queued up. This is the ZMF November special. You can see it's right there, ZMF November. And they've got a bunch of specials and deals and some B stock and stuff going on, stuff going out. There's some stabilized calderas, which I find kind of interesting. And there's some other stuff. Got Verde closed and some Atrium closed, all sorts of stuff. Cool stuff. Go check out ZMF. Big fan of them. And then the big news, this just dropped, I think it was this morning or yesterday. There's a new, I'm just going to stay on the laptop here, and there's a new Hifiman Black Friday sale. Ooh. I wish I had the sound effects all queued up. I can't do the sound effects here, boys. I'm not set up for that. Someday I'll get it all straightened out. But yeah, Black Friday sale from ZMF. I'm sorry, from Hifiman, up to 82% off, and the 82% off is the HE9, the wireless can that I paid like $650 for, and it's now like you can get it for like $150. It's ridiculous, but I'm not bitter. So yeah, featured deals, Edition XX, Aria Stealth, 44% off the Aria Stealth. Boy, is that a steal at $900. Sundara closeback, meh. Ananda Stealth, another good headphone. They've got some wireless something or other, and then the Sundara, that's getting a travel case for it. That's the bonus there. Refurbished, $199. HER10D. I have not heard this headphone. I don't know what it's about. Here it is. The HER9 wired is now $109. I paid $650 for mine. Ah! It's so Director's Garage, isn't it? And 68%, that's 82% off that headphone. $600 I paid. But I had the wireless, which was $749, and I paid full price for that too. And it's now $239. Diminishing returns, boys. Let's name them. Maybe I should change the name of the channel to that. Diminishing returns on everything you do. But interestingly enough, really good price on the HE1000 Stealth at $1399. And the SE is sitting at $1999. That's been there for a while. Susvara, you can get an open box for $44.99, or of course you can purchase a used Susvara with a bunch of ear pads and a custom cable from your director simply by checking me out at directors. Hit me up on directorsgarage@gmail.com. How'd you like how I did that? That was so production smooth. I don't think I've ever been that smooth before. So those are my major announcements. I did get a chance to finally listen to the Rolling Stones album, and it's pretty good. I mean, look, first of all, for some old folks, it's damn good. Guy's 80 years old. It's remarkable. It's astounding. It's the best album by a group of 80-year-olds I've ever heard. And the list is this big. Yeah, so I thought it was remarkable. I liked the lead couple of tracks, and then it's kind of in the middle of the record. It all kind of started sounding the same to me. I would have liked some varying pace on those, and comment on any of this stuff in the chat, and we'll get to it. Feel free to chime in with questions and comments or anything like that. I just throw out a bunch of stuff we can talk about at the top while people are filtering in, and then we go through the chat if you're new here. And if you're not, then just chat away anyway, because, you know, what else are we doing? You don't want to hear me talk for 2 hours. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. But so anyway, in the middle of the album, it sort of got a little monotonous to me. And then at the end, there's a Keith song, and then there's this Lady Gaga number. It's a gospel number called Sweet Sound of Heaven. And then there's a Rolling Stone Blues, which is an acoustic number to end the album. And I'm like, man, they finished that album off strong. In fact, Sweet Sounds of Heaven is probably one of the best tracks I've heard from them since, like, Love is Strong. That's the last, I think, great track I can remember the Rolling Stones doing. That is a great track. It's about 7 minutes and 50 seconds. It builds, it swells, it's got emotion, it's got Lady Gaga singing the high notes, and you've got Mick working his ass off on that song. I'm going to close that off on my phone. I'm just blown away by that track. Every time I listen to it, it gets better. Then there's this breakdown section where it sounds like the song is ending, and they just kept kind of jamming and kept playing, and it builds again to another crescendo after it's done. And it must have been planned, but it kind of has a feel of not planned. You know, it has a very loose studio feel to it, and really enjoyable. Great to hear them playing. And I'm sorry I didn't get to review that album like last week, but it came out, I think, on the day we did the live stream or something, or it only been out a day or two. So I did finally get a chance to listen to it. Started on the 007 Mark I electrostatic, and it wasn't doing it for me, so I switched over to the Abyss 1266 TC, and I reminded myself why that TC is such a damn good headphone. It is a force of nature, that headphone. It's absolutely remarkable. I still, to this day, one of the very best you can buy, period, any price. Cheers, everybody. I hope your day is going well. I hope we're halfway through this week. Those are all my updates. Giveaway winners, Audio 46 episode, another new headphone, working on some stuff for an IEM episode, and a potential i-Fi episode coming up. These are all like loosey-goosey. Those are loosey-goosey. The next 3 are locked in, though. I've got the next 3 episodes planned, which I never do. So we're money ahead, guys. Comment on your thoughts about had some very interesting dialogue in the discussion about the STAX SR-X9000 review. A lot of really good, astute chat, and then a couple of snippy things happened down there too. It's like, oh, okay. To the point where somebody wrote something like, you know, look, you know my feelings about this. Nobody is an There's no such thing as like an expert at any of this stuff. We're all just listeners. We're listeners, and we're passionate about headphones. And somebody like just said, all of you big reviewers have no qualifications to review the X9000. You're not like of a standard, you know. Just like just put up this rant. And I just went, dude, first of all, I don't do this for a living. I do this for a loss. I take a loss on this channel. And my goal is to have fun, give away free shit, and take you all on a journey that I hope you find as fun as I do. There's nothing serious about this channel. You know, everybody should know there's nothing serious about this channel. You know, I try to describe things in ways that other people would understand, and I take you on this crazy ass, you know, wild ride that I've been doing for the last couple years, and we've kind of built a little something, you know. And so I just kind of explained to myself, and I'm like, you know, and I said, I'm not, and there are no experts, but to tell somebody they're not qualified and to say you're not capable of reviewing or whatever, or you don't know, you know, when you start attacking somebody like that, I'm like, that's on you, my friend. I'm like, I would never tell anybody they don't know what they're talking about, or their opinion doesn't matter or whatever. I want all opinions. I want everybody to chime in. And, you know, you're not using the right cables and you're not using the right power source. And I'm like, I think I wrote him a long dissertation back, very polite and very like just taking on his points. And I said, you know, look, if you hear a difference in a power source or an audio cable, I think that's fantastic. Run with that. That's an important part of your audio journey. My audio journey is, I don't think I can pass a blind taste test. If you put a cable and swap two cables out, maybe I might hear a slight difference, but I doubt I would be able to tell you out of 10 tries trying to guess which one is playing, I would get half wrong. I guarantee you I would get half wrong. My ears are not that good. There's no way. And I don't think most people's ears are that good. I think some people really like expensive cables. I have no problem with that. If you want to spend a lot of money on a cable because you think it's beautiful and it might be helping your sound out, but it's nothing that, you know, that's great. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. But I don't think I can tell the difference. I don't think I could pass a blind taste test when it comes to cables or what plug is going into the wall. Do I think it's probably better to have like a nice isolated line? Sure. Why not? But is it necessary and is it something that you're going to be able to like, oh my God, this is like a night and day difference? No freaking way. But I wrote to him, I said, I would never pass a blind taste test on a power, you know, a cord going into the wall, or what power line was coming into the house, or what interconnect was going between this and that. So it's not a part of my audio journey, but if it's a part of yours, I respect that, and go for it, man. Have at it. And I hope that it's, you know, making your system sound great. I just don't think I could pass a blind taste test, so it's not something that I put a lot of emphasis on for the purposes of this show. If I'm more interested in a different amp, a different headphone, and that's not to say I don't like expensive headphone cables. I've got this one here on this, working with the Meze Elite. Today I've got the Empyrean solid pads, the Empyrean leather pads on this. I bought a pair of Empyrean leather pads because the leather pads that came with the Elite are half the cush. The suede pads are the exact same size. The leather pads that they shipped with the Elite are half the size of the Empyrean, and I don't know why. But I prefer the thicker pads, so I bought a pair of the thicker Empyrean pads because I like them. They're more comfortable. And I want that Empyrean goodness on my Elite experience. Thank you very much. So, you know, I forgot where the hell I was at with that. But at any rate, that was like some of the interesting stuff that kind of happened over the course of this week. Very active couple of days in the chat below that video. And the guy, so it was up, I responded to this gentleman in his long dissertation about how I'm, you know, the child of Satan or something. You know, like my ears are made of bricks and I don't know what I'm doing or talking about. But there's a part of me that goes, look, I don't pretend to be the best set of ears or the ultimate set of ears in the headphone industry, and I don't think anybody is, for that matter. But I do think that there are certain people, most people seem to generally agree with my sort of take on things. I get a lot of comments that are like, I heard that too. And that's exactly what I thought about this. And I'm not saying like I'm the end all be all. I'm just saying I'm articulating my experience in a way that, and I must be on somebody, like on some plane of reality, because other people tell me they're hearing things the same way. I've also had people tell me that I am dead wrong. And I used to get soundstage. I was really sketch on my soundstage, especially earlier in this show. Earlier in this run of shows, like when the episode, like it took me probably 35 episodes to start like having a better sense of what sounds of good soundstage versus bad soundstage, and what I was liking and what I wasn't liking. And that, you know, the show has evolved tremendously over I've done 160 of these things or 150 of these things now. So I'm like, I admit that I've grown and I've gotten better at assessing things and more like tuned in to how to break something down. And I don't always have all these categories that I do in the reviews either. That sort of evolved over time as well. I started, because a lot of people, you know, you watch some reviews and some people talk about objective sound and subjective sound and whatever. I'm like, I want to talk about specific things that I think other people can relate to. So that's why I do the categories. And it also gives me a break in the narrative to sort of pace the show out a little bit. Now, the other thing, I don't like a 20-minute segment talking about one thing, or a 10-minute segment. I'd rather do like a 2-minute segment talking about one specific thing and then talk about something else, like imaging, soundstage, detail, and dynamics and things like that. It's more interesting to me to break it down like that. It's more palatable, I think, to you guys on some level, I hope, to have like little chapters. It would be better if I had time to actually put chapter markers in my episodes, I'll give you that. That's just me not having time. And it also gives me breaks, frankly, when I'm recording to like, if I can get through a section, it means I don't have as many edits. You notice that a lot of guys, when they're doing YouTube reviews and any YouTube, not even reviewers, I'm just talking about like if you watch anybody who vlogs, it's like they jump cut themselves 1,000 times. I pretty much do each segment in 1 or 2 takes straight through. And I think that it feels more like I'm actually reviewing stuff. And I have notes and I have everything that everybody else uses, to when in trying to relay my thoughts and stuff. But I don't actually piecemeal it. I actually deliver stuff straight through when I do it, because I break it down into sections that I can get through without making a mistake, and I don't need to do 1,000 jump cuts. And it sounds like I'm piecing together a full sentence from 1,000 different sentences, so I think that helps too. But that's just me rambling my musings at the top of the show. Let's get to the chat. What do you say we get to the chat? See what everybody's doing today. Let her rip, Tater Chip. Dixter. Cheers, my brother. Big cheers, big cheers. Greetings from, oh boy, Bermondsey, London. Where's Bermondsey at? Where's that at, my friend? Where's level 42? Where's that at? What part of London is that in? Is that by... is there a landmark near there you can just clue me into? I'm a big fan of London. I'm not familiar with all the boroughs or all the burgs. Nephilim81 made it. Nice to be here, Nephilim. Cheers, my brother. Good to see you. Was at an audio show over the weekend. I had a secret trap on this thing. Covered some great ground in the headphone world, and an incredible 18 minutes with the HE1. My. Yeah, that's a party. That is a party. That's great, man. That was an experience that I will never forget. Never forget. Ryan Dietz. Ryan has been talking. We've been having a little chat offline. Ryan might be sending us a little something to check out in our future someday. And I think that's great, man. That's great. Welcome. Ryan is from Mod House. He was hiding that from us for many moons. Some of you knew it, but I didn't, because I'm a moron. I tell you that every show. JTB, like Prime Day with Amazon, the Hifiman sales are basically, let's try and unload everything that's not selling and other crappy stuff no one wants. I don't know. I mean, JTB, that HE1000 Stealth looks pretty good. That's a new unit at $13.99. But is that their normal price now? Because I know the HE1000 SE is normally going for $2,000 now. So whatever. Interesting. Rodrigo Freitas, he's from Audio 46. He says, nice shirt, Michael. This is coming from Amazon. This is an Amazon special. I bought this a million years ago. I don't wear it very often, but once in a while, I'll pull it out. Just give you guys a different look. And there's 1,000 little words that make up the headphone here, and it's like, there's like polka and classical, I mean classic rock and golden era and grunge, and it's like all the different genres of music that are spelling out the headphone image. But yeah, and Rodrigo's, he's behind the mystery what's in the box, and we're gonna do that episode. That's the second to next episode. Next episode is gonna be a faster one. It's gonna be a shorter episode. It'll be the winners, and then I talked about this at the top of the show just about 25 minutes ago, and then we're gonna be going into an Audio 46 blind what's in the box. It is my favorite episode to do. I love those episodes where we're just figuring stuff out together. It's an absolute blast. Nephilim81, actually there is something outstandingly serious about this channel, Michael. Our brotherhood and love of music. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I can drink to that. I'm going to crack open a new one for that. You don't know what's in this one. Pure Jack Daniels, boys. Pure Jack Daniels. Then your opinions doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's you have no gears for ears. This is Summitfi. Summitfi was the gentleman I was speaking with, and Summitfi. I'd love to have a discussion about this if you're willing. This is not. I'm not here to attack you or anything. I just think that everybody has an ear for gear. I think that everybody's opinion matters. I think all opinions matter. I think that I want to hear differing opinions. I want to hear similar opinions. I want to hear all opinions. Opinions really do matter to me. And if somebody has a different, because there's another couple of things that people don't talk about, and that's that everybody's hearing is a little bit different. Some people have tinnitus. I have a little bit of tinnitus. It's like a high-pitched tinnitus that's been something that I've had to work through and get through over years. You have some people who have very sensitive hearing. The very loud sounds really affect them, and it annoys them. Some people have hearing where you can listen to stuff really loud. Some people hear a lot of bass, and it really does it for them. Some people hear a thick mid, and they want a thick mid on their stuff. So I think everybody's opinion matters. I would never tell anybody that their opinion doesn't count, or it doesn't matter, or it doesn't mean anything. I honestly feel that it's a big tent. Audiophile, audiophilia, head-fi, all of this is important. It's on its own level. Like it's also terribly frivolous. I mean, what we're doing here is something that a small group of a small group of a small group really get into. I get into it. I'm a geek like that. I love following ideas and threads and trying to find the next level of sound that I find pleasing. And that's the ride that I think I invite people on, and it's worked so far for a couple of years. I'm not a big head-fi reviewer, by the way. I've got 5,000 reviewers, and you've got guys out there like Zeos who are 150,000. You got the guys over at Headphones. They're got crazy followers and all that. I'm small fish. I'm like not a big reviewer. I don't do this for a living. I do this for a loss. But I don't care. It's something that I'm passionate about. I like hanging out with you guys, and it's something I do. Would it be great if someday this show kind of paid for itself? Yeah, that'd be great. because it's an expensive hobby. But for now, it's like this thing's been losing money since I went on the air. So I'm like, I don't understand where you're coming from, Summit Fi. And if you would care to chat about that a little bit and tell me your thoughts, I would love to discuss it amongst friends. So we're all, I try to be everybody's friend. I don't like, I'm not like, you're dumb and you're whatever. That's for other shows. Let other people do that stuff. I'm like, let's talk about stuff, let's talk about stuff that we find interesting, I think, and as far as gear, I'm like, if you can attack the gear all you want, but I've got some of the best stuff in the business. I mean, like, I've got some of the top tier products in-house. I'm not filthy rich either, so I can't like afford to just dump endless money into this hobby. I've got to have limits somewhere. But what I've amassed, we've got great sources and reel-to-reel and an outstanding turntable with a good cartridge and a very good turntable and a preamp in general, and that Macintosh back there. It's a beautiful unit. I've got, by many accounts, one of the best electrostatic amplifiers, energizers, however you prefer to say it, in the business, in this KGS SHV. That's, I mean, from the top reviewers on down, pretty much agree that's one of those Summit Fi amps. And I had another one here in the Blue Hawaii, which was another Summit Fi electrostatic product. So, if that's not good enough for you, I'm sorry, man. That's cool. But do that on your own journey. I don't think it's nice or it's amicable or pleasing, or I don't think one should get joy out of tearing somebody else's system apart. We've looked at viewer systems on this show. If people have sent in their stuff, and it's like we've had stuff that just like is amazing and expensive and all of that, and then we've had some stuff that was relatively simple and like just a guy getting into it and like, man, that's cool. That somebody like went, this is great. I think this is great, and I'm happy with this system. That's fantastic, man, and that's how you get into this stuff, and it makes you want to explore other channels. I'm like, and just because somebody has like not line power running through a $100,000 transformer outside their house, does that mean that their opinion or their thoughts are less worthy than somebody who, is just plugging a thing into a wall on a 2-pin? No. Like, I'm just not that elitist, I guess. I'm more like this. Everybody should feel free to participate in this hobby and share their opinions and thoughts. And that's what I love about HeadFi as a website. It's very democratic. You get over there and you can jump into any one of the threads, and some people jump down your throat and whatever, but for the most part, people are interested in what you have to say, regardless of it. There are some trolls and stuff, but I don't know. I think that this is such a great hobby, and it's so interesting to me. I guess he left. I guess he doesn't have anything to say about it, but he just wants to come in and say a couple of things and leave. I guess that's okay too, man. That's cool. I wish you nothing but happiness, man. I hope you have a great system at home that you're really happy with. I'm just sharing my journey with you guys, and it seems to have somewhat worked in a bizarre way. All right, let's move on. But Summit Fi, I welcome your thoughts in the chat, man. So talk it out. I don't understand what you're so upset about. You're upset about something. It appears. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd love for you to explain that, because I respect your thoughts. That's all. Speaking of which, I like the Roger Waters Dark Side Redux. That's an album I haven't listened to, and I've been kind of on a mild boycott of that. Roger pisses me off so much. But you know, I do want to hear it though. Yeah, it's a good one, Nephilim. I'll put that on the list. Damn it, another thing I failed at. That's awesome. That's great. That's great. And he's listening on his D8000. What is it with 80-year-olds kicking ass these days? I know. It's just it's so great. We've got such great music finally. I mean, how long has it been since we've had a true rock and roll album that's like really done it? We've been looking for that, boys. Looking for it. So I'm really excited about it. David Pilon. Hey, cheers, brother. Welcome to the insanity of the Director's Garage, where anything can happen. Literally. And loves his STAX SRX 9000. Yes, I do too. That was that whole last episode. And I really do want to explore that whole breaking the seal thing. And I don't know if it's going to be with John Masseria. I don't know if it's going to be with somebody else who is looking to get into mods, but there's got to be a way to give that thing a different ear pad that will break the seal for you. Sort of in the way that the I don't know if you know, the Abyss Diana came out with some ear pads that have a broken seal, just like the 1266 does, so it stays off your head, but it has a little vent for the bass to allow the bass to sort of open up a bit. I want to see that. I want to work with, either collab with somebody, or hopefully somebody just decides they want to make some money and come out with an idea for the SRX 9000, because there's a lot to listen to there. There's a lot to explore. I was absolutely blown away. Southeast, 5 minutes from the Tower Bridge. Wow. You know, one of my favorite places to shoot in London is Butler's Wharf, down there by the Tower Bridge. Whenever I go to London and I have to shoot for a week, one of my setups is always at Butler's Wharf, back at the Tower Bridge. I think that's one of my very favorite, and I love the little restaurants on that row there. We all go in, pile into one of the restaurants and eat them out of food, and then shoot our show, and then pack it up. But that's one of the places I don't miss anytime I'm in town. I go down to Butler's Wharf, right on the Thames. Yeah, so good. Yeah, really, and a lot of good little eateries in there too, and bars and fun stuff. Level 42 tinnitus, yeah, tinnitus. I've had it. I got mine on an airplane, which just it sucked. It absolutely sucked. I got like a head infection or something while I was on an airplane, and my ears would not depressurize when we landed. I couldn't get them to depressurize, and it started this tinnitus thing. I've had it ever since. It's something I had to work through, but I have. What do you do? Old age kicking in, yeah. It happens, my friends. The struggle is real, as it were. So good. Old age kicking in. And do you guys have any thoughts about that episode, the X9000? As long as there was a couple of people raised it in the chat. Do you use EQ with the X9000? No. I don't generally. I've broken this for a couple of headphones. The LCD XC, I've broken it for. I don't generally like to EQ my headphones. And the main reason is that I'm reviewing stuff on this show, and it's not... You can't replicate my EQ where you're at home, because you have a different equipment setup. You have a different EQ algorithm. You have a different... Everything is, I can't find a uniform way. If I tell you to raise the mids with a Q of 0.5 at 2 kilohertz, it's going to sound different than if I do the exact same thing, because not all EQs are the same. Not all electronics are the same. All that stuff is different. So, it seems fairly worthless, so it's better for me to do reviews with EQ off. And as a result, I wind up doing most of my listening with EQ off. And I let the headphone timbre decide what it is I'm hearing. And if I'm very a little expensive this way, but if I'm listening to the Stones, I'll go to the Abyss. Or if I'm listening to some Pink Floyd, I'll probably pull out the Caldera. Or if I'm listening to, you know, whatever, like I'll gear the headphone choice to whatever it is I'm listening to, and let the headphone be the tuning, you know, the EQ in a sense. And I keep different headphones around here for different purposes. For listening to different things. And it's a very expensive, costly way to go about it, but it's fun. And I also need stuff to review and to compare with. So having a few extra, you know, higher end products around is good for the show, because I can actually go while I'm listening to the 007, SR007, I can go to the Elite and go, wow, there's a lot of similarity here. I mean, they're not identical because they're different drivers, they're different, you know, but there are similarities, and it's fair to draw some similarities there. So that was another discussion somebody put down, like, you can't compare these two. I'm like, well, yeah, you kind of can. I can compare anything. Now, you may not like it, but I can compare it. I can tell you that, you know, the the SR009 or SR X9000 is sort of in the ballpark of the Susvara as far as tonality and what, you know, like, it's fair to compare those two, because they're kind of the closest in sound to the SR. You know, the closest thing to the SR X9000 in sound to me is the Susvara. To me, may not be to you, but that's what I'm telling you, what I hear. So one of the most believable viewers out there. Well, maybe it's just because I don't take things all that seriously. I mean, there's things that I'm passionate about, but I'm like, let's be honest, we're not curing cancer here, folks. You know, we're not doing, you know, nutso stuff. You know, we're kind of having fun. You know, and if you're not finding the fun in this hobby, I would tell you to go find another hobby. Go find something that's fun for you. Okay, this should be an escape. It shouldn't be, you know, people like to put things in boxes and this is what it has to be. And it's like, no, nothing has to be anything. Just have some fun, guys. Have some fun. Nephilim, Michael, you don't have to justify yourself. For people who truly love this hobby and understand what goes into it, certainly know what you are doing, and people like myself are damn appreciative. Well, and the other side of this is the headphone manufacturers themselves. They're guys that rip up these manufacturers as a review style. They like to tear into something and really talk about how crappy something is. And I'm like, I don't need to do that. I don't feel the need to do that on the show. I think that, you know, I can tell you, that wasn't very good. You know, I'm not going to lie and tell you that, you know, this is the bee's knees when it's not. But I can also say that these weren't for me. And if you like something that's really mid-rangey with not much bass and a slow headphone with not much treble, I think you get the idea that it's not a headphone that I think is particularly good technically, and I think it has a very limited appeal. However, for instance, a lot of people have been raving about the new 64 Audio, what was it, the Velour? Another crazy stupid spelling thing. I will nick these manufacturers for the way they're naming things because it's getting ridiculous. But the Velour with the Uve over the U, whatever. There's so much bass pouring out of that. I'm like, I would tell you, if you are a crazy bass head who must have EDM, you know, who wants to listen to EDM 24/7, that's your headphone. But if you want something with detail and any kind of nuance and like any sort of, like, if you like bass, but you don't need to be like walloped every second you have the earphone in, you get the idea of what I'm saying. This is an extremely bass heavy headphone that is focused on bass and more bass, and then some mids thrown in there and then some highs, but it's bass. It's all bass. So you know, you get the idea, you know, but I'm not saying it's bad IEM. Some people really worked hard on that to deliver a bass experience, and they created a bass experience. So whatever. So make sure that you know, I'm not just going to tell you what I think of them. So try shad tames next time I'm in London. I will. I love those. I love local haunts. Level 42 man. He had tinnitus for 15 years doing. For playing loud without ear protection 95% of the time. He stopped playing drums 4 years ago and lately realized it's gone. I'm glad it cured because you're in the minority. For most of us, once it sets in, you're done. Like, it's going to be there for a minute. Probably forever. Nephilim. E-stats in general are truly a tech that any headphone aficionado will explore. Holographics and airy treble is second to none. I agree. The SRX9000 HU1 have set the bar for him with that. It's a pleasure. Yeah, there's a lot to like, and that's what makes the Carbon such an interesting affair, because it takes all of that and adds some weight down low. It's why the SR007 Mark I, which I have been listening to more and more and more as time is going by, I'm getting much greater appreciation for that headphone than the first time I listened to it. It is sort of that, it's riding that median line. The only thing is that it doesn't have the technical proficiency as far as like the dead spot on image and the leading edge of the note kind of thing, but it's kind of like it's giving you a lot of every world all in one headphone. So it's very interesting. It's the 007 Mark I was a headphone that came to me and I was like, this is really good, but I don't know, you know, but spending more time with it, I'm starting to appreciate it more and more. So it's kind of interesting. But, you know, the proficiency of the SRX9000, I especially think if I can figure out a way to, you know, to do something with that, you know, 3D print something, an insert or something for the headphone pad that opens those things up a bit, there's a lot to explore there. It gets really interesting. And I'm like, that's a sound that actually I have not heard before, and it's very Abyss-like. And the Abyss is a hell of a sensational headphone. Love the company, hate the company, whatever you think about the company. There's very few people who will put the Abyss 1266 TC on and go, oh, that's crap. You know what I mean? It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. It won my last big mega shootout for a reason. I think it's a standard. It's a bar to meet. You know, and I think the Susvara is too. I just don't think that the Susvara is tuned to where my ears want them to be. And I don't know that I can amp them enough to make them what I want them to be. That's sort of where I've come to. That's a JTB-ism, actually. Gringo Star might have been 20 years when he was drunk. It was at its worst. He always slept with the TV or headphones on. Ringing is gone. Afraid it comes back again, maybe, but for maybe a year without it. That's fantastic, man. That's good. It's awesome. I heard you could treat tinnitus naturally with ginkgo biloba. I've tried a bunch of stuff for it. It's never quite worked. Stream stopped. It has not here. When I did glance down and I saw that and I just double checked. I'm still feeding out. My bit rate is all here. Everything's here. It says it's on air and it says the things are happening. So it says this little dealio down here. Whether YouTube has died, I don't know. So Richard Spector assumes stream is alive for him. Tinnitus definitely test your mental health at times. It did, and I just kind of got used to it. And then I had to learn to listen again. That was the hard thing for me, was like that whole like learning how to listen through the tinnitus and get what I love about music out of it. I was never a loud music listener. I would get ear ringing sometimes when I was younger, but it was mostly after I went to a concert. But I wasn't a big concert head either. But the worst one was Van Halen. I saw Van Halen when I was in college, and it was the loudest thing I've ever heard. And my ears rang for 3 days. And then it finally went away. But man, Hey everyone, Christopher Luckenbach. Cheers, Christopher. Cheers, buddy. Level 42 man. Hey Michael, which amp DAX did you use with the X9000? Well, my DAC is the Lena, and now I've got the upgraded software in it. It's now 2.0 software, which has got a whole bunch of new fun filters to play with, which I haven't really. I kind of flipped through them and went, well, this one sounds pretty good, and I kind of went with that. The DCS Lena is the DAC, and then the amp, the two amps I used for the review was the head amp Blue Hawaii, and then I used the Alphabet amp, what I call the Alphabet amp, and people didn't know what that was. It's the KGS SHV from Molnir Audio, MJOLNIR, where you can pick up if you go to Molnir Audio, the gentleman over there is actually will sell some vintage STAX headphones. If you're looking to get into a pair of, pardon me, these back here, this is the SR007 Mark 1. He has a few pair over there he sells, and some of the other earlier STAX model. And one of the things I learned from going over there, hang on 2 seconds, let me put this down. Is that this is the X9000 I just happen to have in a case with a cable coil up. I was talking about in the review the Allen head screws around the bezel, and I was kind of knocking at that. That is an homage to an earlier STAX headphone, the Omega, for those of you who didn't know. But they've moved away from that design for many, many years, and STAX most recent releases, and their popular releases, the 009, the 009S, 007, none of those have had that screw thing around the bezel. So it's like, it's very, to me, seeing that is very un-STAX-like. And the other thing is that on the Omega, it's flat. You don't have like a curved bezel and then a flat square screw coming out of it. I mean, it's just, it looks so tacked together in some ways. I'm just shocked. Like, maybe bevel the screw so that when it gets to a tolerance, it's also in line with the beveled, curved bevel. I don't know. There's all sorts of things you could have done for that headphone that weren't done. So that's that. So there you go. That is the screws are an homage to an earlier STAX headphone, the Omega. But like I said, it hasn't been used in so long. I should just clear that up. Something I didn't put in the video because the video is 30 minutes as it is. I had to start cutting stuff out. Christopher Luckenbach, maybe you can 3D print a ported pad riser similar to what the Abyss did with their ported pads. Maybe. I don't have that skill. That's my problem, Christopher. I don't, like, I can write anything. I can, like, build stuff with my hands and woodwork and things like that, but I'm not like a CAD guy, and I'm not like, I wouldn't know how to begin doing that. And I don't own a 3D printer. So I would need some help. I would need somebody who kind of knows, somebody who kind of knows what they're doing with that. I don't think it's something that I feel like the urge to go down that rabbit hole and buy a 3D printer to do things like that. It's just not something I'm into. But I would, encourage somebody to do it. That would be cool. And I'd buy it from them. Like, whatever, $50 or something. That'd be cool. Level 42 says his tinnitus is just age, as he never listens with cans. Thinks his tinnitus is just age. He never listens loud with headphones on. Yeah, that could be. Mine came from a specific incident, unfortunately, and I paid for it ever since. But it wasn't anything I did. It wasn't like I did something dumb. I just got on a plane, and then I got sick. So who knew? Who knew he would? Gringo Star said he would give his left pinky to see Van Halen back in their heyday. Not sure if it's spelled right. Yeah, I saw them. I never saw them with David Lee Roth. I saw them with Sammy on the first 5150 Sammy tour. They came to my college town of Carbondale, Illinois, and we scored tickets, and it was in this tiny little arena, and they put that big, huge sound system into that tiny little arena, and it just blew the roof off the place. I mean, it was insanely loud and fun, and to see Eddie Van Halen in person, in concert, was, quite a thrill. But I don't pretend to be like the greatest concert goer ever either. I went to some, but I didn't, it wasn't something I did consistently. One of those C words. We'll get back to this. Level 42 man, he has the Blue Hawaii and STAX 009S with a Chord Dave DAC. Now, my feeling with that setup, I think the Blue Hawaii is the right choice because the Chord Dave leans a little bit to the brighter end of things. And I think that the Blue Hawaii is the right choice for that setup, level 42 man, because it will warm that sound up a bit. And the 009S is a that's a hyper detailed, colder sound to it. I had that headphone in here for a while. So yeah, I think you're smart with the Blue Hawaii on that thing. My problem with the Blue Hawaii is it couldn't drive the Carbon. It just was like, I had to just crank the thing wide open to get the Carbon to perform. It was better with the 009S, but it was not good match for the Carbon. Garrett Chow, cheers, Garrett. ZMF November has certainly gotten him excited. He already owns a Caldera. Thoughts on whether I should get one of the closed ones or should I just save money for something else? The poll we took last week was the Atrium closed, I think, won that, but you'll hear a lot of differing opinions on that. I have not owned either the Atrium closed or the Verite closed, and my favorite closed headphones are the Sennheiser HD-820, which nobody likes, guilty, and then the other one is the I like the Lyric, the Meze Lyric. I think that is one of the best closed headphones I've heard. I think they're both outstanding for different reasons. The Sennheiser brings an unbelievable, crazy-ass sound stage with a good bass response, and the Meze Lyric is more fun, more travel-oriented, but a great headphone, super easy to drive, and I enjoy them. I enjoy both of those headphones. Nephilim81. Michael, any interest in the DCA Carina E-Stat? I listened to them. It needs a serious energizer. The STAX SRM T8000 couldn't drive them. Maybe the Alphabet Amp could do it. Maybe. I listened to them paired with the STAX, no, with the head amp Blue Hawaii at HeadFi, and they had two headphones plugged into the same amp, the Blue Hawaii. One was the X9000 and one was the Carina, and I went back and forth between the two, and after hearing the Carina next to the X9000, look, the Carina is not bad, but it's no X9000. The jump in detail and just overall holographic nature and like all the good things that I just did in that last video, it's Dan Clark did I think the best they can do with an electrostatic for now, but they've got a ways to go if they really want to be in that pool with the Carbon and the X9000. The Carbon's just a different headphone than the X9000. The X9000 is just a technical marvel. I mean, it's a masterpiece, there you go. So, will I do it? If somebody sent them to me, sure, I would review it. But it's nothing that I'm anxious to pursue. Neither is the Diana MR. I'm not going to pursue that headphone. I was eager to try and get a pair of those in because I thought they looked really cool, and they're based on the Diana, which I hear is really great. I still want a Diana TC in here someday, but it's another one that fell down on that list of like priority headphones that I would love to have. I wasn't impressed enough compared to what else I have. Christopher says tinnitus is mainly damage to the cochlea and auditory nerve. Yes, things that aid neurological disorders may be useful. Mancuna purines, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that correctly, has shown promise. It's clinically been studied in assisting PD. Yeah, I've looked into it, and there's been a couple of things I tried, but nothing has helped. But it would be great if it could someday, because I really would love that annoyance, to be taken away, because there's no reason for it. It's not helping me with anything. It's just annoying. But you just have to learn to live with it. God forbid, which one would you sacrifice? Chance D. We'll open up a poll for that, Chance D. Everybody can chime in. You want to lose your sight or you want to lose your hearing? I don't have an answer to that because I make my living with my eyes and ears. So can I sacrifice an arm? That would be fine. Nephilim, take his eyes. When you are blind, your hearing goes on a whole other level. He'll take that. Agree, it's a touch bright. Selling the 009S's on HeadFi, maybe my Blue Hawaii SE also. Well, it's still a righteous combo, man. I think with the Dave there, though, you've got I think you're on the right path putting the Blue Hawaii with it, personally. And the 009S, there's no slouch of a headphone. I had it in here for a while. It's great. And I know, Nephilim, you also like the HD-820. I'm not alone, but we are definitely a minority, sir. There's no question. Eric M. Cheers, Eric M. Welcome to the show. Cheers, brother. He ended up buying an Atrium closed at Can Jam SoCal. And after listening to it back to back with the Verite closed for a while, he's super happy with it. Eric, how does it compare? What do you like about the Atrium closed? And what do you like about the Verite closed? Can you share those opinions with us in the chat? That would be awesome. I'd like to read that. Nephilim says DCA Carina is thicker sounding the Estat. Yes. It's also, to me, slower sounding, like a lot slower sounding. Like, I've heard some planers that sound faster. It just didn't quite grab me. And maybe, it could have been the listening environment, could have been a number of things. I'd give anybody that, but just basically, on a basic level, I'm putting the one on and putting the other on. I'm like, this is a good. It doesn't sound bad. I didn't put it on and go, ooh, what was he doing? But it just, boy, when you've got that thing sitting right next to it, the better headphone, it's like, it's hard for me to go either way with it. It's hard for me to just move toward, picking up a $3,000 headphone that I'm like, do I need this in my life? Perpdolo. Cheers, Perpdolo. Welcome to the show. How many amps did you try for your Susvara? Which ones did you like? I can tell you what didn't work. What didn't work was the Phonitor. What didn't work was the WA5 LE. What didn't work was the head amp GSX Mark II. Headphone that started to get there was the Ferrum Or stack in high power mode. It started to bring that thing to life a bit, and the Bakun 13R is definitely a yes, but it still doesn't give me what I want out of the Susvara, so it's kind of also a no. So one of two things is going to happen. Somebody's going to buy my Susvara from me, and it will end my misery in trying to find an amp that I think does great things with it. Or I will continue this crazy upgrading amps or trying different amps with it until I'm dead. That's what's going to happen. But yes, to answer your question, the 2 amps that are approachable with the Susvara that I've had would be the Ferrum or STAX in high power mode only, not in, because you can, there's a dial on the back, there's a thing on the back, you can flip this switch and it deactivates the potentiometer on the front of the Ferrum or, but then you have to preamp into it so you can control your volume. That's how it works. So I was able to do that, and it improved the Susvara enough. The Bakun is a righteous amp, and it's like it's 25 watts into 8 ohms. It's like it's a powerhouse of an amp. So there you go. Okay, Gringo Stars. Sammy Hagar is crazy good. Not sure Van Halen even ever toured Finland. I'm sorry about that, man. Sennheiser is just amazing, even the low-end ones. Was happy to join you for a while. 6 hours to work. Cheers, Gringo. Have a good sleep. He'd settle for losing one eye and one ear. Level 32, man. I don't wish any of that on anybody. We got enough trouble just getting by in the world. Hey, Michael, he had the chance to try the Lyric recently at the Melbourne Hi-Fi show. Didn't last long. He found them to be shouty and fatiguing. It was odd with the Elite, though. Carlos, I really like that. I don't know. It's a fun tuning. They pushed it at the extremes. It's V tuning. But I liked them. I seriously liked them. I thought that they managed to do. They're not the most detailed things you'll ever hear. They're more like in line with like the Elite, Empyrean than the Elite. They're more Empyrean than Elite. But I thought they were a good. They were a nice effort. The headphone that I didn't care for all that much was the Meze 109. Which was the follow-up to the it's their open back in like that $700 range. That headphone, a lot of people were raving about, and I'm like, I thought it was good but not great. I thought, if you're getting up there, I would actually opt for like the HE1000 or something. Like I would go up to that level if I was going to spend that kind of money. Or something. The Aria Stealth Magnet Edition or whatever, something like that. But I enjoyed I have the Meze Lyric with me. I still own them, and I've traveled with them. They're great to travel headphone. But I like them, and I also like them if I amp them with the WA11 Topaz, because it's a Rode headphone. It's not like a headphone that you would listen to on your, it's something. It's a portable. It's not going for that Uber-fi sound. Adios, Gringo Star. The Atrium close sounded richer and smoother. The Verite close was faster and almost planar-like. They're both wonderful. He also has the Caldera and wanted to compliment something to compliment it. Is it fair to say that the Verite closed is a brighter headphone? Because I found the Verite Open to be a very bright headphone, like it was upper mid focused, and it was too much for me, actually. But I've always been going back and forth about that. Eric says the Verite closed felt a bit more analytical, and he felt like he was getting a little more lost in the music with the Atrium closed. Yeah, it's a little more. I could see that, because the Atrium Open is like, it's a relaxed, darker headphone. Like it's almost, it's almost got a veil to it, but it's wonderful. It's just wonderful, and it's a dreamy headphone like that. Are you keeping the Bakun or selling it? As of now, I'm keeping it because it's my best and only solid state amp. That could change, but for now it's staying here. But I will probably sell it. I mean, I sell anything at some point, but right now it's would have a very stiff price tag on it, because number one, the people who bought the Enlium version of this amp, which is supposedly the next generation, the 23R, after some initial praise, it's kind of going the other way on that amp. and people are selling them, and they're not getting as much as people are getting for the 13R right now. So that Bakun was a mark of some sort, and I'm glad I have it, and I don't have a reason to get rid of it. And it does drive the Caldera so well, and it does drive my Susvara. It's really the only amp I have here that can drive the Susvara, and as long as I have the Susvara, I'm gonna need that Enlium, or sorry, the Bakun. Christopher says he had a Verite close stabilized on loan. It wasn't really his jam. Narrow 6K peak made it a deal breaker for him. He'd love to give the Atrium, try the Atrium, given all the positive feedback. Yeah, it sounds wonderful to me. From what people have said, I haven't heard it, and I should have pinned him down when I just Zach and. I gotta, the problem is I like to talk too much, guys. I don't know if you've noticed that about me, as we've been on the air for an hour and 10 minutes and I haven't stopped talking. I like to talk. I'm a talker. And so I get into conversations with people. So when at Can Jam and I go into the room with all the ZMF goodness in it, I did get to sit down and check out, finally get to check out the all this stuff is running together right now. It's I'll never forget it, the Hollow May L3. I did get to do that, but for the most part I was talking to Zach and Bevan. We were playing 50 questions back and forth. We were both having this exchange in there. They were asking me about my show and about my, what did I think and where do I think the show's going, and they wanted to know a lot about my show, and I wanted to know where they came from and how did they grow from doing headphone mods to like one of the power players in the headphone industry that people are kind of chasing now. I wanted to know that path. And that was more important to me than listening to another headphone. I was fascinated by people. Fascinate me more than that. You know what I mean? That's maybe my weakness, my Achilles heel. Get me in a conversation. Nephilim says the Meze 109 needs some serious burn-in. Okay. Otherwise, the treble is peaky and mids. My only thing, Nephilim, this is something that I've heard headphones like evolve a little bit, or maybe maybe it's just like mental burn-in, but I've never heard the fundamental nature of a headphone change after burn-in. I've never put gotten a headphone, listened to it, and went, oh, that's okay, and then let it sit for 200 hours on something and go, oh, that's much better. That's acceptable to me. I've never had that experience. Maybe others have, but I haven't. And then I also, in my snarky way, my snarky knock to manufacturers are, if you've sold me a headphone that needs to sit for 200 hours before I get to, I have to sit through 200 hours of bad crap before I get to something that sounds listenable, you made a bad headphone. Or, your process is wrong. You need to be burning these in at the factory so that you're shipping a headphone that sounds good out of the box. Because I don't want to have to go, oh, these are spectacular new Mezes. Look at all of this, and oh, I can't listen to them yet. They got to sit for 200 hours. That's wrong. That's wrong. It's a bad business model if that's what they're doing. But I think more often than not, it's just something that I didn't care for. Eric M, the Verite closes brighter from. Yes, I got a little shouty with something. That was the problem I had with the Verite Open. But they were fast and cool. Liked them, and they looked beautiful. Oh my God, I didn't like the way they were put together. ZMF has revamped their construction. A couple more, guys, then I got to go because Mrs. Director came in and I can hear her stomping around upstairs. That usually means she wants me for something. Nephilim. Oh, speaking of fun tuning, the Dan Clark Audio Aeon 2 closed. Wow, yeah, that's a great headphone. This is Dan Clark's take on Warm and Friendly. This is Dan Clark's take on the best headphone they've made, I think. But I gotta confess, I've been using, back there is the open back Expanse, Dan Clark. I was listening to them the other night when I was going on my Stone binge, and I wound up on the Abyss. they're still good. They're just, my problems are still the same with that. They're not the Atrium. And it's like $4,000 headphone, open back, nice tuning, sounds good. But then I've got this $3,000, $3,500 headphone from ZMF that's just freaking spectacular. Like, punches way above its price. And I'm like, that's the problem. The only problem, there's nothing wrong with the Expanse. It's just that it's not the Caldera. And the Caldera is sitting there for less money. And the Caldera is better technicals and, in my opinion, a better tuning. Just to me. But yeah, that Dan Clark Aeon 2, that's one of the best values in headphones at $900. It's fantastic. There's a reason you like that. I think it's a great headphone. Level 4 2-man. Is he the only one that wasn't impressed at all with the LCD5? He's tried them at CanJam London, was disappointed. The key to the LCD5, and I told this to this day, the LCD5 is a true reference experience, meaning it's as uncolored as can be. And that way, it's a very useful headphone. And to this day, I've not had a chance to really query Audeze on it. That headphone is made for mixing. That headphone is made for use in a studio. It's an open back headphone for the studio. First, it's got amazing technicals. They're tremendously fast. They're almost as fast as the Susvara, if not as fast. They've got great. They have a phenomenal image. The technicals on that headphone are good, but it's tuned without much flavor at all. It's like an unseasoned steak. Like it's very vanilla on the tuning, and I think that's so that people can mix with them accurately, like and have them in a control room and be able to really hear what they're doing to the music in their EQ and the stuff that they're mixing into the sound of whatever they're working on. I firmly believe that that's the lane that the LCD5 lives in, and if you're looking for a reference headphone, there's nothing better out there. But yeah, it is dead flat. It is the perfection of neutral, which is like the perfection of vanilla or the perfection of water. It's like, it's water. It's wet. You know what I mean? So I can see where some people are unimpressed with that, and I get that, but I also think that they're very useful. A decent deal from Zach. I totally agree with your burn-in theory. That's exactly what he's always said. And I don't know that I'm right. It's just my opinion. Do you ever think your expectations of the Susvara was too high? Chance D, that's a great point. And what I would say to you is yes and no. It's a $6,000 headphone. It should blow me the frick away. It should just look, the Abyss, the lovely Abyss 1266 TC is a headphone that has brought me and my friends to tears on occasion, like with something that you're listening to in the right moment, in the right mood. I put them on. My buddy Mike, who came over one day to he said, I want to be blown away. You've got all this stuff down here. What's really impressive? And I put the Susvara, I put the Abyss 1266 on his head, on his ears, and I put on some of his favorite music. And he was literally tearing up as he was listening to it. And then I switched him over to the Susvara. And he said, I don't know why you would bother with these. And that's kind of where I'm at on the Susvara. I can't point to much wrong with the Susvara. But it doesn't blow me away. Like, I'm not blown away by that headphone. I think it's great. I think it's good. I think it's very good. think it's even great, but it's nothing that makes me go, holy crap. The Caldera is a holy crap headphone. This is a holy crap headphone. You can put these on, you hook these up with the right things and the right music and the right time. They're going to impress the crap out of you. And the Susvara just does everything terrific. It just does everything great. But nothing, I don't find them spectacular. And for the money that they're charging for that headphone, yeah, it's just not quite, there's something missing. And I still think, I don't know if I have the right component chain for them. Because I think that headphone should be a wow. Given that I've been wowed by the HE1000 V2, put that on my tube amp back there and just let the music flow. It's fantastic. Great headphone. I've never gotten to the Susvara and just gone, man, listen to that. I've done that on the Abyss. I've done that on the X9000. I've done that on the Elite. These aren't universal. These don't wow you with everything, but they're a great experience. I've never had that with the Susvara for whatever reason. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. So are my expectations high? I think they should. I think the expectations should be high because of the price of the thing, right? But then it's so hard to drive. You're just never sure where you're at with them. It's so hard to drive. Anyway. There you go. Last few boys, and then I'm going to call it a day. JTB. Cheers, JTB. Welcome, buddy. Caldera. Endgame headphone. Yeah, I can see why. It should be. It certainly is endgame worthy. As is the X9000, as is the 1266 DC. Susvara kicks arse in the nicest possible way. Yeah, and I don't have any problem with anybody who is blown away by the Susvara. It just hasn't done that for me yet, and that's important to point out. The guy who was going nuts on me earlier. Who was the guy? Who was way back at the beginning of the thing? Summitfi. Summitfi was going off you don't know how to listen or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, I guess I don't, but. It works for you, and that's fantastic. I just haven't gotten them to work for me. Is that my tinnitus, maybe? I don't know, maybe. Maybe it's it's messing with whatever the Susvara can do. I don't know. They're not there for me yet. And JTB was crying from the price tag. Yeah, anything Susvara it's a money suck. It is a money suck. It's a money suck with an endless, bottomless pit. So, yeah. Nephilim says, Michael, the latest ZMF line has evaded him. He can't wait to try the Caldera. Nephilim, you got to try the Caldera. I don't know. See if Zach can make you a deal where you can put some money down and get the Caldera sent to you, or some return policy. I don't know what the return policy is at ZMF. It's hard for them because they don't do big business. But yeah, they're so worth it. They're so rewarding. It's such a rewarding headphone, and they're easy to drive and all the things. Still loving your Yamaha YH5000 SE. Yeah, the spectacular detail. Lots of good things about the SE. I did a whole episode on that. I hope you saw it. Susvara needs a revision. Well, I would agree with that. I think that they do need a revision. I think they're long overdue for a revision. Look, even the Abyss, since it came out, has been revised a number of times. There have been at least 3-4 iterations of the 1266. There's already been 2 or 3 versions of the Diana, which is a newer headphone than the Susvara. I want to get an Abyss in here. What I would say though, Nephilim, is look for a used pair. Look for a used set. Somebody will sell them. Somebody sells them, because no headphone is for everyone. People buy stuff all the time, and they just unload it. They buy it and they're like, it just doesn't work for me, and they unload it. So maybe you can get a deal on one, or it's not as painful to buy it. Maybe somebody will unload one for like, you know, $2,500 or something. I don't know. You may have to wait a bit because it still is their newest, you know, whatever. They're a batch to drive. They're a bitch to drive. They're painful. Someone criticizing your listening ability is comical. Why does your opinion on gear affect him so much? Well, that's the other, exactly. I mean, like, I think it's great when people share their opinions. I can go, I don't agree with you. But man, you know, like, I like, what right do I have to tell you that you're, you know, it's just stupid. It's silly. And it's like, it's not, I love the tint of this, and I love that we all get together and share our thoughts. And even when you guys go, dude, you're dead wrong. You know, like that review missed the mark. I don't, you know, I fully could have, you know, on stuff, but I just give you my thoughts as I'm doing it, you know, whatever. But, yeah, and I tell people, I had another guy who was like hanging around. He's really mad at me over some 64 audio stuff. And he was constantly like bashing me in the chat and all that stuff. But I'm like, why do you put that much stock into what I have to say? Like, why would my opinion matter to you that much at all? It shouldn't. Anyway, there you go. But if you enjoy it, enjoy it. Good for you. That's what it's about. Find that headphone that's you, that uniquely, you know, scratches that itch. And that's the problem with the Susvara for me, is that it's an unscratched itch. And I keep thinking if I get a longer scratching pole, I'm going to be able to get that damn thing. I just haven't found it yet. His problem is having too many high-enders, which confuses his brain. He needs to offload some. I'm working on the same thing. I've been doing that, and I did unload, as I announced last week, the Blue Hawaii is gone. It's out of here. Alan, cheers, buddy. Yeah, I got to get going, bud. Sorry it's late. Some like champagne and caviar, and other like spam and cokes. I like it all. I'm you know, because I'm telling you, as I started at the top of the show, there's a Timeless 2 coming out. It's going to be a $225, $250 IEM. I'm all over it, because I love a good bargain on something that sounds fantastic, and that Timeless is an amazing, amazing IEM. Whoever wins those, and it's going to be the next episode, we're going to do the giveaway winners, you're in for a good time. All right, fellas, I'm going to start wrapping this down. I got to get to my important things like dinner and exercise. So cheers, everybody. Thank you for tuning in on a Wednesday happy hour hump day hangout. We're going to try and do these level 42. We try and do these every single Wednesday, but I have a production schedule with work that sometimes doesn't let me do it. So it just depends on my schedule that week and what's going on. So it's usually a Wednesday. Typically it's a Wednesday or a Friday. It'll be 3:30 in the afternoon ish. Sometimes we switch that around, but I try to post the day of and give you guys a couple hours notice. I thank you all for tuning in. Tip your waiters and waitresses on the way out the door. Make sure you recycle those beer bottles. Throw them in a bin, boys. Help the planet. Help our minds. Get out of here. All right. I'll see you guys later.